Hi there, I'm Jamie Dunbar, and welcome back to the Dunbar Dog Diaries, The Puppy Next Door. This is Day 4, Video 1. It's also Week 2, Video 1. I'll explain more about our timeline in a moment, but first, if you enjoy what you see here, please check out dunbaracademy.com to learn more. If you're interested in real-time, live online puppy classes, check out seriouspup.com. We'll provide links to both of these websites in the description below. Before I jump into the next training session, I wanted to take a moment to explain the timeline of the work I've been doing with Daisy. I want to be totally transparent and upfront about when and how often I'm going to be working with her, so it's all very clear to anyone watching. Daisy was born on April 6th, 2021. My neighbors picked her up from the breeder on June 4th in Los Angeles. They spent a night with her in a hotel and brought her home to Oakland on June 5th. I went over there to meet her for the very first time on June 6th. And on June 7th, just before she turned 9 weeks old, I borrowed Daisy and brought her to this training studio for the first time to work with her. We filmed that day, and that was the footage we used to make Day 1 of this series. We worked with Daisy on the next day, June 8th, and the day after that, June 9th. Each day, I would check in with Ian or Kelly on the phone to get feedback about what I was doing. After 3 days of this, we came to realize that these feedback sessions were actually really valuable and might be worth recording. Daisy's crate training, chew toy training, and toilet training were going really well, so we took a little break from working with Daisy to figure out how to redo and record my sessions with Ian and Kelly so we could incorporate them into this series. We also wanted to try using a 2-camera setup to better film the training sessions. All of this took a few days to figure out. Now, I'm about to show you my 4th full day of working with Daisy. Day 4 was recorded on June 16th, a week after the last time I worked with her. Daisy is now 10 weeks old. Moving forward, we're going to keep working with Daisy on a regular basis, probably once a week or so that I have time to get feedback from Ian and Kelly before I do another training session with Daisy so that I can actually use the advice they give me. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into the next training video. In this session, I'm going to try to do some big recalls across the room and some very short come-sits, luring and rewarding with kibble, and trying to do some with an empty hand. I'm also going to try to incorporate some little tug toy sessions in the training since she loves it so much. All right, let's get to it. All right, welcome back. Here we are for my 4th day of working with Daisy. She's been settled in her crate for a little bit. She recently went pee, so we're going to do some training inside. All right, Daisy, I know you're taking a nap, but do you want to come play with Jamie? Hey, come on out. Yeah, we're going to do maybe a little bit of kind of following, kind of some big recalls, using some treats. Yes, I can see that you just took a nap. You're maybe a little bit sleepy, but I bet you're going to wake up. There you go. Good job. All right, so that was one for a piece of kibble. You may have noticed I've been saying treats, but actually, yes, look at that little stretch. I've been saying treats, but these treats are just her regular kibble. And because we're hand feeding it, and because we're not giving her kibble in a bowl, it's actually very motivating for her. So we're able to use her regular kibble as treats. All right, so that's working pretty well. Let's see if we can do it without any food in our hands. Let's give that a shot. Hey, come here, Daisy. Yeah, good. So she came, nothing in my hand. I'm gonna reward her from the other hand. I want her to learn as quickly as I can get her to learn it. Come here, Daisy. That an empty hand is still worth listening to, and you never know when you're gonna get a treat. The other thing I can do to kind of get more bang for my buck for each treat is just hold on to it a little bit longer. So, got one treat here, and look, she's just gonna keep following it back and forth. See how I'm keeping it low? So, you know, it's in her range. If I stand up, I'm gonna be miles away from her, and the lure is not gonna be as effective. Ooh, yes, yes. Oh, there we go, there we go. But if I put this lure in front of her nose where she can sniff it, then it's a lot more effective. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now with my empty hand, I can make it look like I'm holding a treat, Yes, good girl. And I can also kind of rub my fingers back and forth, makes it exciting. I can flutter them along the ground. Ooh, give it a little movement. You can see she's interested in following just my hand without even a treat. And, you know, you don't have to give her a treat every time she does what you want. It's better, in fact, if you don't. It'll be more motivating if she doesn't know exactly when she's going to get a treat. Eventually, we'll start trying to give her treats when she does the best, fastest recalls. But right now, that's a little too much for me to think about. Ooh, yes. Up here. Good job. Ooh. All right, yes. Good job. Okay. Now, I'm going to move around a little more, see if I can get her to follow me all around this room. Do-do-do-do-do. 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 Yes, good girl, Daisy. Now, what about this way? What about this way? Do-do-do-do-do. Yes. Oh, yeah, that'll get interesting. So, Daisy, come here. Good girl. Good girl. So, a good piece of feedback I got from Ian was when you do a recall, a long distance recall, every step of the way is worth praising. In fact, when your puppy looks at you, that's worth praising. And then every step they take towards you, that's worth praising. You don't need to wait until they get to you to praise and reward them. Now, I'm trying to actually let Daisy get distracted from me so that I can get a nice long recall, but she just wants to stay near me, and that's exactly what we want. Good, Daisy. Yeah, we want our puppy to just love staying near us. It's easy with a puppy. As she gets to be an adolescent, that'll get harder and harder. I can't lose her, and that's exactly what you want. And I'm not even giving her any treats right now. Yes, good Daisy. Oh, come over here, Daisy. Oh, that's our cameraman. Daisy, come here. Good, yes. Yes. So especially if you can get your little puppy to come away from some sort of distraction, something they're investigating, and they come to you, that's definitely worth some praise and some treats and some play. Yes. Some gentle mouthing. Ooh, it's getting a little hard. Oh, but no, that was okay. All right, we'll do a couple more of these. Here we go. Over here. Yeah. What about over here? Ooh, through my legs. What's that? Is that a fancy little trick? Ooh, do-do-do. So I can turn my body into like a little obstacle course for her. Let's see if I can get her to go through one a little bit smaller. Look about this. Oh, under the bridge. There you go. Good job, Daisy. All right, so as you can see, just a little hand feeding and moving your hands. You can get your puppy to follow you, come to you, and we're in a big empty room for a good reason, not a lot of distractions. All right, we're gonna reset the camera and do a little work a little tighter in and give you a better angle on that. See you in a second. Okay, so we were doing some large area following and comes. Now we're gonna do a little bit tighter. I'm gonna try and add a sit. Now I didn't wanna use the sit on those big recalls because if I get a big recall and she doesn't sit, I still wanna be able to reward the recall. So I'm gonna start with some kibble in my hand. I'm just gonna do these little one-step come sits. So, Daisy, you smell that? Here, come and sit. Yeah. Oh, good girl. Okay. Let you scratch a little bit. So when you're luring that sit with a tiny dog, you really got to be careful. You don't make too big a motion, otherwise they're going to jump up. So come and sit. Good. Yeah. Let you chew on that. Let's see if I can get 2 in a row. Daisy, come here. Daisy. Come, sit. Good. Come, sit. Okay, so as you can see, just a couple trials in, we can get 2 in a row for 1 piece of kibble. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Come, sit. Come, sit. Good. Come, sit. Good. 3 in a row. Okay, let's try one. No food in our hands. See if we can do this. Come, sit. Good. There you go. How about this? Come, sit. Good. Come, sit. Yeah. Good job. So yeah, I'm just going for one little step to get her out of that sit position so that I can get her back into the sit position. Where'd you go, Daisy? All right, ready? Come, sit. Good, kibble. All right. Come, sit. Come, good. Sit. Good job. Come here. Come, sit. Sit. Kibble. And tug. Yes, you get that. You get that. Yeah. So if I can use the tug as a reward as well. And what's even cooler is if I often do the tug after the kibble, she'll start to associate the kibble with the tug, and she'll learn to love the kibble even more. Now, she's got this tug toy. Let's see. I need to get it back from her. I'm not going to let her have it just yet because I can't reliably get it back from her. Let's see, though, if I can with a piece of kibble. Do you want a piece of kibble? Good. Thank you. Kibble. Yes. And tug again. Oh, I really like that she just released the tug toy without me having to pry her little jaws open. She released the tug toy for the treat. That's fantastic. So I want to let her know, if you do that, hey, the tug toy is probably going to come back. Woo! Sorry there, girl. So, you're going to take that piece of kibble. Here, take this piece of kibble. Good. Kibble. And tug. Tug. Okay. So we've got a few things going on here. We've got our little come sit. We've got the kibble. And we've got the tug. And we can mix those up so much and use them all together. All right. Thank you. Thank you. There you go. So to make it also easier for her to release it, I'm kind of stopping to, I'm no longer playing tug with it anymore. And I also kind of bunch it up in my hand so that she really can't get very much of it. And then I'm putting the kibble, right there to offer it to her. Now, if she wasn't interested in the kibble, I would put it back in my pocket and I would just use my hands to get the tug toy back. I'll show you actually how I might do that. So, got our tug. Yes. So if I wanted to get it back, obviously I'm not pulling on it and tugging it and making a fun game anymore. Instead, I'm going to bunch it up so there's not much to grab on. I'm just gently putting my fingers in there, opening her mouth. Good girl, thank you. And kibble. And tug. Tug. Oh, good job, good job. Yeah, yeah. Good job. Oh, good tug. Okay. Daisy, thank you. Let me go over here. Oh, perfect. Yeah, are you getting the idea? Okay, now let's mix it all in together. So, let's go. Daisy, come, sit. Good. Kibble. Come, come, sit. Good. Come, sit. Sit. Oh, do you hear the noises? Oh, good job. Kibble. And tug. Yeah. So I want her to love coming and sitting. It's really good to have a reliable recall that ends with a sit. You don't want your recall to turn into a flyby, where your puppy, they come, but then they leave just as quickly. So I want this sit to be just second nature for her, and that, when she comes, she sits. All right, thank you. There you go. Oh, good girl. Have that piece of kibble. And let's see, empty hand. I'll get the kibble ready in my other hand. Okay, here we go, empty. Come, sit. Scratch. Come, sit. Good. Come, sit. Sit. Good. One more. Come. Sit. Kibble. Oh, okay, yeah. I guess I can't really offer you kibble with the same hand that's holding the tug toy. That makes sense. You like the tug toy so much. All right, thank you. Got this? No, okay, I'm gonna take this back like that. Give you this. Good girl, here. And this comes back, yes. All right. Good girl. Yeah. Okay, thank you. As you can see, I'm not letting her keep the tug toy and having it all by herself today. She's done a good job of releasing it. I definitely want that to be solid. Come here. Sit. Come here. Sit. And so that was a classic example. I went for kind of a longer recall, and then I asked her for a sit, and she didn't sit immediately. And so then I was in the position of, oh, do I reward her for the recall, even though she didn't sit? So that's where I'm doing these really short come sits, just one step to get that locked in. Oh no, I forgot to silence my phone. Sorry about that. But you know what? That's actually pretty good timing because I think we're about done for right now. That was really good, Daisy. Let's see. Here you go. Come here. I'm gonna go into a crate. Good job, Daisy. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Okay, that was, as usual, a lot of fun. Daisy is super engaged. She loves to stay near me, and she's already willing to do quite a lot without the need for a food lure in my hand, which means I'm well on the way to phasing out food lures. Let's go find out what our experts have to say. Hi, Ian. Hi, Kelly. How's it going?
Hi, Jamie. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, guys.
Going well. Fun day.
Oh, good. So we just watched the first video from my 4th day of working with Daisy. I was doing some recalls and some following, some come sits. What'd you think? Kelly, why don't we start with you today?
Okay, so it was fun. It was really cute to watch you. Daisy is an engaging puppy. She likes her food and she loves her toy. We can talk about it a little bit more later. Your environment is still sparse in this one, but I think you maybe practiced this before you and I had spoken about making your environment a little more exciting. Other than that, your level of your rate of interaction and reinforcement was really nice. You kept her engaged. To keep a puppy at that age with you for as long as you did, because it was a little long. Again, as we discussed in our last session, I think that was probably, how long was that? Like 12 minutes again?
Yeah, I think the first little part was like 6 minutes, and yeah, the second one was like 10 minutes. So altogether, right, that was definitely pushing a little long.
It's a lot, but if you took a break in between those, it's one thing. But you managed to keep her pretty well engaged. I have only two things stuck out to me in general. I don't know if I should, if we should do that all up front or if we should wait.
Yeah, no, I think go for it.
Okay, so when you're doing recall or come, it's best to have the puppy to come towards you. It's not just you have the puppy coming. You were sitting with the puppy coming, come away from you. And the whole idea of come is that it's a position which is sitting in front of you. Yeah. So come is a position as much as it is an action. And we can actually break down, the act of coming when called into many different pieces, which we'll do a little more when she gets older. But I think for now, the most important thing to remember is that, yes, the movement of your hand was helpful, as would be the movement of your body if you were drawing her into you. But a puppy can't come and go away from you at the same time.
So do you think that I shouldn't do that sort of luring where I lure her away from my body, or should I just not call it come?
You can lure her away from your body and do those fluid movements and have her sit. I would lure her all over the place. But when you're going to do come, that would be more of a touch, like a hand signal. We touch, is what we do, target, nose touch to hand, and that target can be anywhere. So maybe it's time to introduce that, and you can remove the kibble from your hand. But come as a position, and it's in front of you.
All right.
Um,
That makes a lot
and
of
come
sense.
is the act of coming towards you and then being in front of you,
Mhm.
and sitting ideally. So because dogs, they don't necessarily understand the concepts. They understand the position that they're in or the action that they're doing. So in the moment. So that was the biggest thing that I thought was adorable and yet kind of funny. I just giggled a little bit as you're saying "come." Did you notice that, Ian? Did you
I
see?
did.
Come to my hand over there.
I think though, you see, I'm just not used to training little dogs, and a lot of the exercises are very different when your pup is large, and they're easier to film. That if you're standing up, you take one step back, one step, come, sit, come, sit, come, sit, come, sit, treat, come, sit, come, sit. But if we did that with Daisy, we wouldn't see her. She'd be like a little dot close to his shoe. And it would be like a very boring, ugly, open moonscape recording. I personally thought, we have a great way to market training here. When there's Jamie down on his knees, first I would invest in knee pads. And it was like he was doing a ballet like this with the dog. And I think this is a great calisthenic workout. And when the camera shuts off at the end, he sort of goes, oh, whoa, this is a great workout. And when Daisy gets bigger, we will be able to stand up and bend down and do this. And what a glorious workout for a middle-aged person, to exercise every muscle in your body.
So puppy Pilates is what we're going to market.
Puppy Pilates, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yes, it took a lot of core strength to be on your knees and moving your upper body while your lower body stayed pretty much stationary.
Yeah, and I
So yeah,
already
that
have
was
some titles for some of the moves in Puppy Pilates. One was the flutter finger follow, which I like. I'll just flutter my fingers. He said. So we had the flutter finger follow,
yes,
like this, kind of like Isadora Duncan, And then we had what I thought was really good. I loved the wide receiver cornerback game. That you play the wide receiver and try and get away from your puppy. And the puppy's meant to be the cornerback covering you closely, but it must not touch you. Because when the dog grows up, it'll be a wonderful game to follow you at high speed as you try to get away. And the little puppy is learning to follow and stay close. So when you put a leash on this dog, he's just going to walk by your side because he likes being close to you. So yeah, I think we've hit on a good one here, and Jamie is the ideal teacher of this. That I think I'm certainly in danger of using my job now of being filmed with puppies. The phone call will remain silent for a long time before I get called to action again.
Well, I'm excited about our new Pilates series. Any other input or?
Yeah, I mean, it was great that you couldn't get her away from you. That's exactly what you want at this age. A puppy should follow you for the most part, especially at this young age where they're a little insecure and not as interested in the world. So that was good. Although it's not to say that she was showing signs of insecurity. But puppies should follow their person that's their protector and their resource.
And you are right, Kelly. That right. I didn't have a chance to populate the environment, but I'm excited to do so. And also, I think that will make some following more fun if there's some stuff to hide behind.
Yeah, some obstacle courses.
Yeah, do some following course sort of stuff. And I think she certainly seems like she's ready for that.
She's a pretty hardy go getter of a girl. The other thing that was funny to me, it was one of those. I have to say it again and reiterate. I love that this young puppy is so into tug. That is not always the case. Some people really do have to teach their puppies to tug, or wait until they're a little older and a little more mature before they get the idea of it or have the jaw strength. But she is a little spitfire and she loves her tug toy. And as you said, even more than the kibble in this particular case. You said she was releasing pretty well, and she did the first few times, but it seemed to me that got a little tougher for you. So that's already in the wrong direction. normal. She's possessive. She loves the toy. Don't take it away from me. I'm sure your girls did that at a certain age too. My toy, my favorite thing. I don't want to give it up. I'm not done with it. So, trading the kibble may or may not work in those situations. I think it's going to stop working pretty quickly. Kibble is a very abundant resource in her life, and you may have to move to higher value things for exchanging with higher value items. If she loves her tug the most, you may need to bring out bigger guns. But before doing that, or another option is to, instead of putting it on her nose, in this case, which is definitely how to start, and what we would recommend is take a few kibbles and wiggle in front of her nose and then toss them on the ground. So she has to let go to pick them up, and try that as an exchange, which is a safe way to exchange things with dogs as they grow up, with young puppies and adolescent dogs that may sometimes even have something in their mouth that you don't want them to have. And you don't want to make it more high value by even pretending you're interested in what they're having. If it's, I have had some construction done here this week. One of my dogs was picking up pieces of wood. The guys had left some pieces of wood that had rusty nails in them. Nobody picked one up, thank goodness, but I didn't know that. And I thought, if I act interested at all, we're going to get a game of chase with our adolescent dogs here or something. And I just call the puppy with something high value. Hey, come here. Oh, look, I've got some cheese. Toss, toss, toss on the ground. Puppy spits out the item to get the cheese. You casually pick up the other item, do some training or reward the puppy and distract them away. So that's something that you might want to practice with her as well. To what's the word? Like I don't even know what the word is. Ian, what's the word? To make something less interesting. Interesize.
Devalue?
To make something
Devalue.
Making a coining my own word. Devalue the thing versus putting any attention on it, which is just going to increase value and possessiveness potentially.
I could totally see how her interest in the tug toy could become a problem or a difficulty if she stops releasing it easily and gets bigger and stronger. So yeah, I'm open to.
And we'll transfer to other toys, and she lives with kids, right? So she might then pull a sock the same way. It's not that which could tear a sock, so what, I guess. But if it's your favorite sock, you'll be irritated, and if it's kids, it becomes a tug immediately. Oh no, give me my toy, or my plush toy. So starting some more formalized object exchange games with a puppy that's that kind of intensely into our toys is probably a good idea.
Yeah,
those are my 2 big points.
I was gonna say, Dad, do you have any other recommendations, as well as, so Kelly was talking about high value treats, the waggle and toss in terms of getting her to release her tug toy more willingly?
Well, it's one thing that is going to happen. I mean, she's a pistol. She loves tug, and that making sure you have a quick release is the entire success to this. Otherwise, then tug, which happens in many families, will be discontinued as a game. And so, little tips. I really like the dog. Firstly, I clearly say thank you. That always comes before whatever I'm doing. Even if the dog wouldn't release, say, an adolescent dog, and I have to go mano a mano, first I say thank you. And then I say sit. And at the same time, and if you're using a treat at the beginning, I say thank you. So that's when you're bunching the tug toy very nice, which makes it less grabbable, less fun, and it goes still. That's good. Then the other hand, thank you, and sit, and waggle the treat like this. If the dog sits, try and hold on to it. So now the tug toy's behind your back, which you're doing very well. Most people are like this, tug toy treat, and the dog goes ballistic. So then have the dog look at it for a while, and then as you know, the longer you hold this treat, the more power you get from it. So a long sit, stay, and a watch, and then either you can hand feed or you can toss. I would try both. I'm a great believer in I find too many people in training are either or, my way or the highway, and my view is try both. See what works best for you, see what works best for Daisy, because tug is the secret for this dog. This is a very active dog, and the only reward that's going to work soon is tug. And that's where the training has to be integrated into the tug game. And it's thank you and sit, good dog, and a long attention, calmness, and we're counting the seconds and we're trying to get it longer and longer each break. Then, okay, tug again. Because tug will be the only reward that works here. I don't think there are bigger guns. You know, the food will work for a few more weeks. And then the dog will say, had enough food, want to play tug. So we play tug and with the rules, and the rules are that the tug reinforces everything you want. Nice walking by your side, nice following, long sit stays, long down stays. One thing I saw, which I really liked, was the number of free sits and watches you got. I mean, there you're stuck in your routine and what have you. And I counted, I think, 13 times before I stopped counting how many times Daisy sat, looked at you, just out of the blue while you're doing stuff. And that's incredible that now you don't have to reinforce sit and watch because doing it is obviously reinforcing. This is now up in the level of, I call it up in the level of behavior problems. You know, why do we have behavior problems? Because the dogs love doing it. You know, it's a self-reinforcing behavior. Well, I think you've got sit and watch and proximity way up there. And that's so good to see. I mean, the foundations are enormous. A general comment, the improvement was colossal from the first couple of weeks. Both in terms of your training skills. If only all owners were like this, you obviously listened to the advice that Kelly gave you, that I gave you.
Well, I had access to some very good advisors. So,
yeah, but think of the stress level you've got to have with Kelly and I watching you work with a dog. So the level of improvement was huge for you, which was then, I think, reflected in Daisy. Also, the staging was better. And I don't just mean by staging, the filming, the better close-ups. That, of course, was all marvelous. It was hard to see the two of you in the first couple of days. But you were doing a choreography, which I love in training. You know, it's like doing Pilates out in the park or doing those other, what's it called? The Chinese...
Tai Chi?
Tai Chi, yeah. And you do this routine with the dog and using your legs to do moving figure eights. I mean, you were kind of like a sort of moribund crab going forward, but the dog's through this leg and we step forward and this and doing moving figure of eights. And then I want to see some circles and some spins. And
I'm writing down moribund crab as a note.
Yeah. And then putting many more things in the choreography so that the training session, you see, most people's view, I think, of training sessions is, oh, it's a drag, I've got to train my dog. No, it's dancing with your dog. You say, Daisy, would you like this dance? Let's turn on some music. And my favorite music with Zuzu was Revenge, you know. I think it was by Pink, was it?
Okay.
Yeah, before that, or was it Love Club by Lord?
We'll have to find some nice royalty.
Yeah, and you get your music, and she hears the music go on, and like, yippee! I'm going to dance with my owner. But the dance comprises a choreography of some, 30 or 40 different little routines. So this was lovely to see. I just sat back and smiled through the whole thing, making notes, and it was just it was really good. It was good to watch.
Well, thank you two very much. I really appreciate the feedback. I've got some good things to work with here, and let's do it again soon.
Yeah, if you want a bit of basic truth, I will share it with you.
I do want basic truth, yeah.
When you started day one, and I asked you, I said, well, are you apprehensive doing this? Yeah, this is the first time you've really trained a dog with Kelly and I watching. And you said, yes. I'm sure you weren't anywhere near as apprehensive as I was watching you, thinking, I hope he doesn't fall on his face. So I think justifiably, you've done a really good job here. I want to see Daisy improve week by week.
Yeah.
Not day by day. We'll say one thing. Don't think day by day, because as you get into this, come day 10, dogs have incredible days, and then they suddenly throw a day from hell at you. And that's it. It's just one day from hell. The dog just has a bad hair day getting out of bed or something. And so the minor ups and downs doesn't matter, but the general week-to-week improvement will, I think, be colossal. Oh, there was one tip. Yeah. When you're getting a dog out of a crate to train, if it's been asleep, it's going to scratch and scratch and itch and itch and scratch and scratch. So I would probably do that before training. I would say, come on, Daisy. I would pick her up, do a quick handling thing, rub her all over like this, scratch her ears, rub her neck, like this. Okay. And then I would integrate that as a reward, a little handling, scratching, hugging, petting routine. Otherwise they keep sitting and scratching. And then when we get to, say, a longer recall, if she tried to sit and scratch in the middle of a recall, I'd get on her case and say, Daisy, no, come here, come on, move, 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 move. Good girl, and sit, good dog. Then I'd pick her up and help scratch her out. So I think I would take care of that beforehand, because it becomes very distracting to training, and the danger is, for many people, this is one of the learned helplessness maneuvers that dogs use to stop their owners' training, like sitting and not moving, or scratching or sniffing, and then the training just stops. So this, I just wouldn't allow it with her. If you're doing a recall, you start and you finish it. Kind of like we do. If we had an itch on camera, we wouldn't be doing this when we're filming. We would wait and pray until the camera stops, and then, wow, man, or we wouldn't sneeze, or we would carry on.
Interesting. I don't know. I feel like I do scratch. I try and be discreet.
Oh, little things like that are okay, but there's some things you wouldn't do on camera. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We've got another little session from the same day, so talk with you guys again in a moment.
Okie dokie.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was a nice feedback session. Ian thinks I look like a moribund crab, but in a good way. And he thinks I should start producing puppy Pilates videos. Kelly pointed out that it's pretty silly to say come and then lure your puppy to move away from you. That is a very good point. I also got some useful tips for getting Daisy to release her tug toy, since she clearly loves it so much. I can try waggling and tossing kibble, or using kibble to ask for a sit, or using higher value food treats. Also, I might start doing a little handling and scratching when I first let her out of her crate, to hopefully prevent some of the scratching she does once we've begun training. All in all, this felt like a really good session, and it was really fun using the 2-camera setup. I feel like we were able to produce footage that is more fun, more engaging, and more educational. Okay, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in video 2 of day 4. Or, as I think we'll be calling it in the future, video 2 of week 2. Thanks for watching this video. If you'd like to learn more about dog training and behavior, make sure you visit dunbaracademy.com to check out our selection of courses, many of which are completely free. If you'd rather watch more of our videos here on YouTube, just click the links to the right. And if you want to follow us on social media, everything you need is directly below. As always, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell for notifications.